how do you and Matt Weiner sort of work out what exactly you're going to say? Is it gospel what he writes? Or
yeah, he writes it and I say it.
There's no discussion?
No. Which is that's a little flip, but I have a sort of special relationship with Matt, and I can ask questions, but I generally made a decision early on in the run of the show to just trust that he's gonna tell this story, and he is a particularly gifted writer and storyteller, and I basically put my faith in the guy to take us on this journey and land the plane at the end.
In the specific experience I'm going through now, I had the luxury of actually sort of cracking the first season with the guy that wrote it. So we spent 6 months before he started writing, kind of figuring out what we thought the story was, and so I stand as never before in a position of authority in a weird way to just simply say, now, let's do something else today, or let's try to do this a little bit differently, and people seem to respond pretty well. But it's a great experience.
I have that meeting with Matt every year before we start shooting,
yeah.
Before he even opens the writer's room, in fact, and we sit and we have lunch, and it's about a 2.5 hour lunch, and we just talk about what's the possibilities of the next 13 episodes or whatever, yeah. And it's not specifics at all. It's like shades and tones and themes and things like that. And it's incredibly helpful for both of us, I think, to kind of get us back in the right headspace and then move forward as a team.
I've heard this myth about the cable world that all the episodes are written before you start. Is that true?
Oh, they are.
We had the season.
I have cable fantasies as I'm going to sleep.
But no, the scripts are rolling in. They're rolling in while you're shooting.
They're brought in by beautiful nymphs, And,
but there are a couple of heads.
Giving us massages.
No, that was on Homeland. That wasn't true, right? Because you guys switched it up. I had heard that you guys switched it up about halfway through the season and the direction that it went. So it wasn't all written in advance, correct?
No, not at all. And I think they're really good. And I'm writing with guys that Kiefer spent a long time with, working with guys, and they're phenomenally talented, unbelievable, and generous and collaborative, as long as they know what the story's going to do. And they often don't. And there was one, and I don't want to throw a spoiler out, but there was one incident towards the end of the season. And they didn't happen on it. I think genuinely they didn't happen on it in that writing room until about episode 5 or 6. And then they came to me and said, so we think this happens. And I'm going, what? What do you mean that happens? I'm that guy. I'm not that guy. And then you realize, well, you're the guy that's being written. So you roll with it. And it was a big moment, but they hadn't found it until then. And,
having done 8 years with those guys, they got a charge out of writing it that morning. Yeah. That was their juice. That's cool. Is kind of leaving it up to the end, and then just in this kind of unbelievable panic of this deadline coming at you like a freight train, and then boom, furiously. And I remember on 24, the poor girl playing Nina Myers. She was my partner for 5 episodes, and then somewhere in the 6th episode, she said, why don't we make her bad?
That was my prom date.
And we'd already shot it.
Wait, what?
Is that real?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sarah
was my prom date.
That's hilarious. And she's now married to a guy who was on 24,
yes.
correct?
Yeah, I met on 24.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just trying to picture you dancing because she's quite a short girl.
Worked out fine. And heels.
But I remember we had shot her in a ditch and we thought she was dead. And then all of a sudden, the next episode, they had managed to go back and shoot something else where they had put a bulletproof vest under this very dainty blouse, and she lived, and there was stuff like that. So
That's kind of fun.
It was actually. It was. They got the juice out of kind of figuring out. Literally, we were sending stuff. The film was wet when they were done, and it would go on the air. And, yeah.
I think the best writers write themselves into what seems to be an inextricable place. Yeah. And then they take the break, and then they come back and they go, now, how do we get out of this? Yeah. And that's, it's brilliant how they do that. And in my situation, I don't ask any questions. I don't even know what's happening in the next episode because my character's going through such twists and turns, I didn't find it helpful that there was no anchor points for this character. Yeah. He was flying by the seat of his pants, by the seat of his shattered pants. So I think the whole thing is that my belief is it all starts with the writing. I think we hook our wagons to good writers, and they drag us, and we hold on, and we go together, but they're doing the bulwark.
Absolutely.
It's interesting too. I don't know that either is better getting them in advance or getting it at the last minute. I've gotten scripts at the last minute from Sorkin, literally right before we film something, and there's a rush to that experience. And then I've gotten things, Alan Ball and Six Feet Under, like 10 days, 14 days in advance. And I don't know, they both work. But
if it's good, it's good. I mean, that's at the end of the thing. Like, it doesn't matter what the process is. And some people, like you say, some people work better under that crazy Klieg light of an approaching deadline. And some people work better in the crazy leisurely pace. And television is by nature, whether it's network or cable, it is by nature of fast-paced. It's not a movie. Working on big features or whatever, you shoot a page and a half a day. And it's a 12-hour day, and we didn't get it. Don't worry about it. We'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it next week. It's not big. That doesn't happen. We shoot 8 to 10 pages a day. You move it as fast as you can because that's the economics of the situation.
Have you found it odd going back to that? I become narcoleptic.
Yeah.
Going back to a feature film.
Yeah, you're kind of I get anxious. I'm like, why aren't we shooting? Why aren't we shooting? I mean, what are we doing? Like, let's go. Yeah. Like, why am I here? Why are we all here? Like, let's put something on.
And then you become like unbelievably negative. This isn't going to look any better. It's like 4 more hours. All of a sudden,
how much lighting do you need? Right.
This is boring shit.
It doesn't necessarily look any better either. That's what's funny. But.
And you're rehearsing on the fly. You're filming rehearsal, generally speaking, in an hour show.
Yeah,
it's
I like
not
to work that way.
The half-hour stuff was fascinating. My first gig was a sketch comedy series with Carol Burnett, and that was a wake-up call, man, when you're talking about changing the writing every day. Because I, coming out of grad school for acting and stuff, Shakespeare, whatever, I thought TV, whatever. But that first night that I got new pages, I was like, what?
Yeah.
All the way through the week. And exactly. And every night with more new pages. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I have my performance memorized. I might get that tattooed on me somewhere in another language.
Don't throw a monkey wrench in there.
I have my life memorized.
Spontaneity.
But if you're coming from the theater, man, that's a wake-up call. Like, you got to make fast decisions, and got to be loose.
Did you do when you were doing Cheers and Frasier and everything? Did you do Monday to Thursday rehearsing, throwing it around, and then you shoot on the Friday?
Cheers was a Friday night shoot. Frasier was a Tuesday night shoot because then you'd get a longer weekend. Because even if the script was in trouble, then the writers would have to work over the weekend. You wouldn't. You'd still go away for 3 days. But Frasier got to where we rehearsed about 10 hours a day. 10 hours the week, and then would shoot, and that was about an 8-hour day. It just was like that.
I can't imagine there ever was a bad script. I mean, you watch those episodes.
Well, there really weren't. I mean, but there was some niggling points that you had to say. It's not. We can't get to where you want us to get sometimes. And they were quite aggressive about rewriting, which was great. They'd do page ones all the time. And then crank it out. You'd go the next day, and you'd have a whole new script. It was kind of exciting. Yeah. I remember Mercedes Ruehl was doing a show with us, and we're rehearsing it. It's the day before we're shooting the show, and I suddenly went, "This doesn't work." And she was ready to kill me because she had memorized her performance. Let's bring her out. Mercedes said, "I still hate him to this day."